that are here. I'm so forever grateful to you guys. So, as you know, I'm Tiffany Freud of Infinite Vision. And before we get started, just, in terms of being fully present, thought I'd put together some rules for engagement. So first, I want everyone to release. So disconnect and let go of all that you brought with you. So just pause and breathe and just take a moment. Focus. Be present in the moment. Remove all of your distractions, and except for the one taping, you can let go of your phone, your technology, and especially your preconceived notions. Believe. This one's really important. Take a breath and take a moment to believe that you, your ideas, your business, and everything you put your mind to is worth it. Now let's begin with an open mind, an open heart, and an open book. Let's start creating a new chapter in your life. And essentially, let's create our infinite visions of life together. So, for today's event here in Las Vegas, we are going to do a bunch of things, and it's going to be interactive at points. So essentially, this is my first event of its kind that's really focusing on my business and work and essentially my story of how I got there. So I am a continual strategist. I build revenue for businesses and try to help as many people as possible. And now, essentially, I'm on stage and in front of the camera, so it's a little different than one-on-one or representing other businesses. And I want to share my story, some strategies, and a lot of tools I use with my clients. And the goal is to rebuild and redirect the way I essentially do daily. So, thank you for that. So what are you going to learn today? Kind of setting a brief agenda. So essentially, you're going to shift your life, your business, and even pain, whether that's your physical or emotional or spiritual pain, into a more positive position. I want to teach you actual strategies, tips, and mental shifts that have proven to empower, enlighten, and embolden. I've used all of these aforementioned ideologies on my own personal journey, as well as my professional one with my clients. And essentially, it's a precursor to my upcoming book release of the same name, Living My Infinite Vision. So I wanted to share a little excerpt about who I am and how I got here. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to sit for this one. So in 2009, I was working on Madison Avenue, flying back and forth to San Francisco. I was in my mid-20s and on top of the world career-wise. I was handling business development for an international RPO, which is a recruitment process outsourcing company. I did their sales, marketing, and business development and liaised between both coasts. Then the economy crashed, and so did the recruiting industry and associated businesses. I had the choice to let the fourth round layoff define or determine my life, but I chose to rise. It was an amicable split, and they were very generous with me, thankfully. While most of people were finding and scrambling to find jobs, I knew I had to make one. Necessity is the mother of invention, after all. I took what I knew and I started offering it to businesses. Instead of outsourcing IT or RPO, which I had done previously, I was now offering myself as an outsourced sales firm. And I had up to 7 clients at a time. From the outside, it looks as though I was working for each of these companies, fully representing them in name, email, and service. However, I was independent, making my own hustle, and leading my life and not the 9-to-5. I quickly learned that entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. Let me just emphasize that there. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. Guaranteed paychecks are non-existent. Everyone wants a discount, and you always need a contract, no matter how well you know someone. Business and money in particular change people. With my business moving forward, I was able to become location independent. This immensely helped my free-spirited nature. I moved often, and I did so where I found clients, businesses, and opportunities. I lived in about 7 states in 10 years. So young and very successful, I moved down to DuPont Circle in Washington, D.C. I loved it. I made amazing connections. I had top trade associates and clients, and my business literally skyrocketed. Being in the middle of power is exciting and devastating at the same time. I was making the most money I had ever made in my entire life. I also started sleeping the least amount. That was the beginning of the end in my way. With so many clients to work on and such a significant financial return, I stopped focusing on my own well-being, and nights became sleepless and very caffeinated. I felt like I could get more work done if I just kept going. With my owner-like mentality, every client had to have my best work. There were weeks I went 5 days straight without sleep. It wasn't sustainable. I eventually crashed, both literally and figuratively, and I couldn't figure out why my health was declining. In your 20s, you truly think you're indestructible. After some health issues, I realized money does not equal happiness. And while I made amazing friends in DC, and I was just so focused on my work, and I really wasn't happy. So I decided to pack everything up and make an epic change. And I moved cross-country to Las Vegas. So let me tell you, these cities could not be more different if they tried. It was really hot. Yeah, like a dry heat, as some say, but hotter than I ever anticipated. And I realized over time that people valued their life over their work. And that led to everyone being happier. And it was amazing. It was a really great experience. It was a whole new world for me. So from New York to DC to Vegas, I was making a ton of friends, and right away, my first networking event, I landed my first $30,000 deal. Business and now my life were taking off once again. Then I went to Red Rock and did some hiking. I was getting overheated, and I was drinking and thinking, no pain, no gain. It's drilled into us, right? If you want something, it has to hurt. Well, I was really wrong. I woke up the next day and met up with a friend. As we were shopping, I couldn't catch my breath. I thought maybe I needed to eat, and then I wasn't just feeling right, but I started shaking and I really just needed air. So my one side of my body started moving, and now, after experience, I know they're tremors and sometimes seizures. My heart was racing, my pain was increasing, and I started losing feeling. And I knew I needed to go to the hospital. Everything I had and everything I was essentially ending. I felt like I was dying. The pain was unbearable. In the time I was in the waiting room, I lost the ability to speak. I was able to make some noises, but it was only during my severe spasms. I was aware, essentially, but I couldn't control any part of my body or my voice. I lost me. I remember a friend calling my brother to come, and I remember a nurse telling me to stop faking it because I was too young for problems like this. I remember finally getting seen, and then realizing I had a stroke at 30 years old. It was already too late, though. They discounted me, my pain, and my age, and I really wouldn't be the same person again. But life is a funny thing, definitely in retrospect. I was on top of what I thought was my world, new place, new business, new clients and friends. However, if you don't have your health, what do you really have? So very, very long story, somewhat shortened. I still rock some contracts in my hospital bed, unable to speak but unwilling to give up. I had doctors consistently telling me that I needed to slow down. How can you do business if you aren't talking? Well, there was email. And eventually I was slurring, and even if I couldn't walk, I could sit and do my work. So months of rehab and determination and work, and essentially an unwavering spirit got me well. That is until it happened again. Another stroke, another series of things to recover from. I only had about a 6-month reprieve here. I realized that while I was so strong recovering and fighting to get well, my new normal was just to live with whatever happens to me. However, I'm not my disease, or as some call it, dis-ease. I don't even really like talking about it, but I realized it completely shifted my mission. I always wanted to help people, and I wanted, I was extremely driven as a person. But now I was mission driven to share my talents with people, to let people in on my method of reality. The reality is that I'm in pain every moment of the day. However, that's not me, it's something that happens to me. What I choose to focus on is helping others rock their business, their life, and their health, and to only look at the good and positive position, essentially how I titled it here. So it doesn't negate that the bad is there. You have to process in your own time and space. However, you can't live in your victimhood. You have to let your disempowerment become your empowerment. Consistently shifting, consistently redirecting, and welcoming goodness, positivity, love, and light to my life has become more of who I am. It has infinitely changed my life and business and those I work with. I find my center, I find my happy in everything I do. I created my own workarounds and essentially reverse engineered my happiness. I realized I was happy, and I realized that I wanted to be happy. So I knew what it looked like, and I knew what success was. So now that I had that visualization, I had to step back and create the process where I can achieve it. That is the precipice for shifting my business as well, where previously I would take on every client and do their project as if it was my own. From then on, I made sure I balanced my time and my health. I took on projects I loved and wholeheartedly believed in. I also started learning balance. For a recovering type A perfectionist who had to graduate cum laude with psychology and gender studies degree at the same exact time, this was not an easy undertaking. I'm a hyper-focused person, and I work hard for everything. It was completely atypical for me to take breaks, take it easy, or not give everything I have to, and then some. However, my health just has different ideas. I learned to breathe through, live with, and be greater than anything in my body, genetics, or anything that life can throw at me. Every health battle I see as a redirection and a chance to pause, shift, and change towards a better version of myself and create a higher purpose for my life because of it. It took years, and sometimes I still get caught up, but I'm human, and it's okay to pause, but the important thing is not to stop. Would I love to have not been concerned about my physical health and keep pushing? Absolutely. Would I change these events if I could? Definitely. Would I be the same person? Probably not. So now that you know a little bit about me and my story, and thank you guys for letting me sit and do all this together. So with my business, Infinite Vision, I am now celebrating, it's been since 2009, the downfall. I've been celebrating 10 years. So what do I do? I do a lot. Apparently not good with the microphone though. So Infinite Vision helps people raise revenue through offering kind of essentially whatever people need to build revenue. So speaking engagements, training, comprehensive business development, sales consulting. I do coaching as well as consulting I've worked with corporations, associations, startups, and really anybody that has a personal or professional goal, I'll help them find a way to get there. So that's fun. And then, as I mentioned earlier with my book, Living My Infinite Vision, that's going to be coming out through Hay House and Balboa Press. And kind of came about in a really awesome way. I've worked with so many companies at this point and top-level executives and just really overcoming my own trauma and that part of the story that you heard earlier. I wanted to share that with the world. So, just want to be more of an empowerment tool. So that will be coming out as well soon. So now this next section, what I want to do is I have some interactivity to work on with you guys. So we're on Love What You Do and Do What You Love. I'm going to read through this short reading, and then we're going to do some exercises, and hopefully we'll have some brave volunteers as well. But just to check in, how's everybody doing? We good? So, love. It's a funny thing. When you're working or planning to work, the common ideology is to love what you do and do what you love. And I've really been on both sides. I absolutely love what I do now. But there have been times in clients where I've had completely polar opposite feelings. A feeling that, you know, you need to be on both sides of the coin. So I took this down, sorry. So I found what I loved in what I did, but it was a job and not a calling previously. So a calling is an awakening to your soul's purpose, a feeling that you are on the right path. It's your why. Why do you do what you do? Do you guys do what you do with love, passion, and commitment? If not, why? Could you imagine being as committed to your career as you are to your significant other? I can, and I do. So I know we all need to make money. Paychecks are very important, and not everyone has the luxury to just get up and start living their passions. However, if you aren't finding a way to integrate love into what you do, is it really worth it? So I came up with some tips on integrating love into your daily activities. And the first thing to do is take an honest assessment of each part of your current job. Now, just to get a show of hands, how many people own their own business in here? All right, how many people have a side hustle? Okay, and how many people work for another company? Okay, cool. So if you work for another company, we'll go to that portion. So start a rating system on each part of your job. Which components do you like more than others? Focus on like what you love doing. So what I do with my clients, I'm like, take the top two things that you love and ask for more responsibilities in those areas. Even if it means that you have to do this outside, like start volunteering, or if you want to talk to your superiors and just get more responsibilities in those areas. Now, there is a possibility that this won't work with your current job, because if it's so limiting that you literally can't figure out what you love about it, you need to look for a new job. Like, that's just the long and short of it. At the end of the day, happiness, love, and light is really, it's your choice, and it's a very active choice. I work with clients all over the world, and the funny thing is, it doesn't matter if they're making millions of dollars or they're struggling. Everyone, the common problem is to find what they love with what they do. So think about ways to integrate more love into your work and make love, appreciation, passion, and gratitude part of that. So life is short. You got to make it worth it. So I wanted to kind of have a little bit of interaction now. If you guys go to the next page, and B, if you want to grab a workbook. Do you guys all have pens, by the way?
No. I have a pen.
Okay. So we could kind of do it in our heads if we don't have pens. So now what I'd like to do is I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes. I want you guys to really answer this honestly. I'd love for you guys to share. You don't have to. I know some people don't like doing that. But it would be great, small group. So are you happy with your current company, like your current situation, whether that's your company, career, job, or life? So there's 3 questions I have for you to work on. I'm going to give you a few moments to do so. So I find value in, I want to do better in this area, and I would like to change. Now take some time, and we'll go over them in a few minutes.